everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So, pretty much past the flowers here, the beginning of the garden wall for this pass. I got like one sort of leaf left, and then the rest is going to be the wall. So that should hopefully go a bit faster because, yeah, it's not a solid block of color. However, the colors kind of run almost in like diagonal stripes along the edge of the work. So that means I can sort of do a whole bunch of, oh, I got all the thread out here already. A whole bunch of them at once. Yeah, like do a dozen in a row before I have to park and switch colors. So that does speed things up a bit. As I said, I'm stitching somewhat diagonal, somewhat not. My color flow method is like right here. You will see me start off with skipping a little bit, but like I said, my big rule is to try not to close in on all four sides. Any unstitched squares. So that is what I am attempting to do. Yeah, so it is a lovely day today, nice and warm. Lots of ice to slip on, unfortunately. Yeah. The remaining snow and ice on the road gets melted, churned up by all the tires, and then it refreezes. So yeah, that's fun to drive on. Yeah, I swear, cars have to replace the struts, and yeah, your suspension wears out way faster because it's so rough. Yeah, well, here it is. And then in BC, your problem was they salt the roads. And yeah, that's not great for your vehicle either. At least here they don't really salt because there's not much point. It's too cold for salt to work. Yeah. Okay. So I am probably going to have more than one thread of this color here. But yeah, I can sort of see this is the outline of the leaf here, and then that's pretty much it for colors that aren't part of the wall. So 4, 3, 6. Yeah, I was able to pack away a bunch of the purples the other day as I finished those up. I have a few in my working tray that I will pack away soon. Yeah, then once I'm done this pass, it'll be time to again pack all those away and start with a different part of the color palette because yeah, we'll be back to ocean. So it'll be lots of blues and light grays. A few white colors or light colors too. Yeah, I think we get any boats in the next one. Oh, just the bottom of one, but there's sort of like the white caps of some of the waves too, so yeah. But yes, yay, I am a third done, past a third done. So I'm happy with that. Like I said, I don't think I will complete this pass this month, but I should get it done end of next month. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, I apologize in advance. I am tired. Ready time change. I don't adjust to it well. And especially this spring one when you have to go forward. Yeah, it's bleh. I do not like it. Yeah, it's wild. Like, we've been doing this for over 100 years in Canada. I think they said the first time was like 1906. And we're still stuck doing it. Yeah. Even though it's been shown it doesn't save energy, which was the whole reason it was introduced, or one of the big reasons it was introduced. And another one I heard was that it's supposed to help farmers, but apparently they don't like it either. It throws their schedules off, and plus, like, farming's not a 9-to-5 job, right? They get up when the sun comes up and stop when it goes down, kind of thing. So yeah, they don't just quit because it says it's 5, right? Oh. Yeah, actually, it was funny. Somebody was saying that some guy had moved out to the country, and bought some land to do that, and they knew he was a city guy because he was the guy who quit at 5 p.m. for a while because he was still used to doing that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's take this thread here, which is not very long. Hopefully will be enough. Yeah, so my husband's all frustrated because he got a laser engraver and it died after using it for one thing. And so we contacted the company and they said, oh yeah, you know, they'll replace it. They send him a you know, shipping label and everything. And so he packs it up, he sends it back. It finally arrives. They sent the same model back. Yeah. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah, I put a piece of tape on it, like right here, and it's in the same spot. And then he said, well, just to be sure, he went and he tried to see if it would work. Maybe it was just his imagination that it was the same one. He said, no, it's the same one. It's got the same issue. It doesn't work. So yeah, he's not happy. He said, yeah, I guess they decided to take it back and give me a new one, but they didn't bother to get rid of the old one. I don't know, figured they'd sucker someone else, or I don't know, something. Or I don't know, maybe there was a miscommunication. Somebody thought it was supposed to just go back on the shelf. Maybe they thought it was like a return for a customer who doesn't want it anymore. Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes you get that, right? Where it's like, people don't talk to each other and the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, right? So I don't know, but yeah. So he said, okay, instead, he's going to try and contact the manufacturer and see if they'll send him the part, a replacement for the part that is not working. So, yeah. Frustrating. Well, that was like I had a whole saga, I think last year. I ordered something and they sent me a completely empty envelope, not even a packing slip in it or anything. I only knew from the address on the return address, what it was supposed to be. And it was a bubble envelope. I'm like, how does nobody notice that this thing's empty? Like, as soon as they handed it to me, I'm like, there's nothing in here. Yeah. And yeah, opened it. And then they said, can you send me a picture? So I like held the envelope open and took a picture of the fact that it's got nothing in it but air. Oh, and then somebody tried to say, well, but it shows it was delivered. I'm like, yes, it was delivered. There was nothing in it. Delivering me an empty envelope is not, you know, that doesn't count. I had to eventually, it was a third-party seller on Amazon. I had to contact Amazon to get them to force them to give me the return or the refund for it. And then they were all upset later that I didn't give them a good review. Like, well, no, you guys sent me an empty envelope and you tried to give me the runaround. You know, I'm not going to give you a good review for that. Ugh. Yeah, frustrating. Like, there was one other, I tried to order a Morgan hoop stand set, which is like the two hoops that fit together so that you can sort of, you rest one on your knee and the other one holds your work so that it, well, it's a lap stand, right? And yeah, I ordered, it was supposed to be the 10 and 14 inch set. And they sent me one 9-inch hoop. It's like, that's not even close. You didn't even get one of the hoop, you know, sizes right. They didn't send me a 10 or a 14 inch. Yeah. But fortunately, when I contacted them, they immediately gave me a refund and they didn't ask me to return the hoop. So yeah. So for them, I left a decent, like I took a star off for it not being the right object, but I left a fairly decent review saying that, yeah, there was an issue, but they, you know, they refunded me immediately without any hassle. So yeah. And then I went and ordered from a completely different site because I wasn't going to trust them not to do that again. Oh, yeah, that's my more portable one. Yeah, I went through a few lap stands before I found one that I liked. The problem with others I found is because it was like a single arm holding it over, it was too easy for it to flop down. And yeah, which is really frustrating. You'll be stitching on the work and then it just collapses on you. So that's one nice thing with the hoops, right? It's evenly distributed. So yeah, so that's the one I use when I'm just working on the background. Right now, that's for my Ocarina of Time piece. Yeah, we still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom. we tried, but yeah, my husband's like, I guess I need to power up more because, yeah, we were not strong enough to defeat the final boss. So, yeah, try again. Such a big game, though. So, yeah, it's been fun. Ooh, pardon me. Okay, so I'm going to come into this corner. Yeah, and sort of work my way out towards this this leaf there, and then keep working my way out. So yeah, I did not start at 0 this morning. Again, had to wait for the sun to come up, and especially the light to come up, and especially because of the time change. Yeah, we're getting up an hour earlier, so there's more daylight at the end of the day versus at the beginning. Yeah, I had people say, oh, you don't want to do standard time all year because it's depressing or whatever. Or maybe it's the day, I don't know, but they're saying that you don't want to be on the same time all year because it's depressing in winter. And like, winter's depressing anyway. And I find that the fall time change, even though you get the extra hour of sleep, yeah, it kicks off my seasonal blues very quickly because it's so dark in the evening so early. I'm cooking dinner when it's, you know, black outside, and just, yeah. You know, I have to turn on all my lights to cook. It's, yeah. I find that depressing, so. Yeah, when there's no hint of sunlight at 5 p.m., I'm not happy. So yeah, like I said, not a solid block of color, but as there are not as many colors here, as you can see, once we get past this leaf, it's like three or four colors that just sort of alternate in strips. And so yeah, that helps me stitch quite a lot in a shorter amount of time. Yeah, and then, so my kiddo was on the esports team, but yeah, they haven't been having as many practices because teachers around here have been doing rotating strikes. So like 3 days, there's no extracurricular activities. So yeah, so the after school stuff that is when they're supposed to have their practices, yeah, those are canceled for those days. So yeah. Yeah, he's had a couple of days off, not in a row, but because of strike action. So yeah, he certainly hasn't minded. Yeah, I said that's better than when I was a kid and we lived through a strike. They went 3 straight weeks, and it was really fun at first, but yeah, after a while we were getting bored. And then, like I said, the rest of the school year they had to really rush to cram all the material in that we needed to learn for the next year. So yeah, we paid for it later. But yeah, like I said, this is before social media and stuff, so we still had to get up at like the time that we normally would get up to go to the school and sit there and listen to the radio or watch the little ticker tape at the bottom of the local news to see if your school was, yeah, still part of the strike action. So it's like, yeah, I said couldn't even sleep in. At least with this one for my kiddo, they give you sort of a couple days notice that, okay, like say Tuesday is a strike day, so then you know, and you don't even have to, yeah, get up early in the morning, which is sure nice. Yeah, and there's been a couple of days that so the teachers were out there, you know, with the signs and stuff, but it was really cold. Yeah, like, man, you know they're serious if they're willing to strike when it's winter still, right? Ooh, boy. And then I think this kind of, the little darker archway is going to show up fairly soon. Let me see. Oh, it's still a couple columns away. So yeah, it's, yeah, about here. And it's going to show up. And I think there's a little bit, yeah, there's a little bit more vine right close to the edge, but that's a ways away. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I forgot I was on move mode and not markup mode. So yeah, I just kind of made a natural break point here. So I'm going to kind of square this off for a bit. And then it'll be time to move the frame again. Oops, that is not correct. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe my next session, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Depends how much I get done. Yeah, I wanted to stitch more a couple days ago, but my brain was just mush. Yeah. I knew if I'd stitched, I would just probably end up having to rip it out because I'd mess it up, so yeah, I took a break. Yeah, one of my friends said they took their knitting with them to the hospital when they had to have surgery, and they said, yeah, I shouldn't have done that because, yeah, I was so loopy that I just had to pull out more than I actually put in to fix it, so, ooh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry about that. It's kind of nice, this color kind of works out to going in diagonal sort of along the way I like to slope it when I can, so that makes it go faster. I'm just not going to cooperate. still have more of this, yeah. Not for a while, but I do. In this area later. It's more sort of in the, yeah, the horizontal band across this wall here that color appears. It's more shadowy, I think. Yeah, a leaf, or maybe it was just a vine sort of here. Yeah. It's going to be a wall for a bit. Can't remember how many stitches I started at this session, so I won't be able to tell you how many I've done during this session, but yes, quite a few in a row. Oops. Oh dear. Yeah, I knew that sounded wrong, and then I felt it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I tell you, how does that even happen that quickly? I can't pull it out. Oh my gosh. What a mess. There we go. Yeah. When I pulled it back, I must have sewn through it. And then it was caught in such a way that, yeah, I didn't want to pull free. That's better. Fortunately, I caught it pretty quickly. Didn't have to cut anything out because that is the worst. Yeah, so I finally finished my run of watching Murder, She Wrote. So, yeah. Although I was kind of disappointed. I didn't know that, I'd say a good quarter of the episodes, Angela Lansbury wasn't really in them. Like, she's sort of in the beginning and she sort of introduces that, oh, her friend, the private detective, told me about this case. And then, yeah. And I understand they had to do it because she was feeling overworked, and so they had to find a way to give her a break without canceling the show. But yeah, kind of sucked because, of course, my favorite episodes are the ones where she's solving the crime, right? Yeah, grew up with her. Yeah, bed knobs and broomsticks, and she was Mrs. Potts in the original animated Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, it was funny. I remember one of the animators was talking about, there's a scene where she jumps down off like the mantelpiece and onto the floor, and they went, well, that doesn't work. She's a teapot. She's made of china. She'd break. So they drew a pillow for her to jump onto. So if you're paying attention, you'll catch that. Yeah. That was such a good movie. I haven't seen the remake. My sister-in-law has and said it was pretty much identical to the animation, and I loved the animation, so yeah, I have not bothered. I mean, I could if I want to, because we do subscribe to Disney Plus right now, so it's not like it's going to cost me to rent it or anything, so maybe I will check it out just to see. But yeah, they keep doing live action remakes of stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, I grew up with the original cartoons, so I don't really care about seeing the remakes, although I might watch, I do end up watching them if they come across. Yeah. If they happen to be showing on TV, sometimes I will. But yeah, it's like, I like to see original stuff, really. But someone said, I don't know how true this is, but that if they remake it, they get to hold on to the original copyright or whatever for longer. Because after 100 years, something becomes public. Like Winnie the Pooh just became public, I think it was a few months ago or something. But yeah. And so like they could still make stuff, but they no longer have the exclusive rights to it anymore. So anybody can use it now. But yeah, that movie always made me cry at the end. So yeah, I'll have more than one thread. There is so much of this color sort of running back and forth along here that I will use up multiple threads. I know that, so I don't stress about adding more, because yeah, they're all going to get used up. Have to be careful that I'm in the right spot. Goodness. Usually don't have that much trouble finding the proper place. Bring my needle up without splitting things, but sometimes I have a tougher time. I don't know. Like I said, I'm tired and more clumsy. I was making an omelet and I broke the egg and I dropped both halves of the eggshell in there. Plus, another little piece that I couldn't find to retrieve it. I was very annoyed. Yeah, I said to my husband, I'm so tired, I'm clumsy. I'm like, well, clumsier. I always kind of add clumsy. That's why I don't do well with freeform art. Like drawing, painting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the same motor control. And I tried to do like freeform embroidery too when I was a teenager, and I was no good at it. This I can do because it's precise, you know, following the holes in the fabric. Precise squares, yeah. And so that I can do. Because like the basic structure is set and I just have to fill it in. So, yeah. That I can manage. Yeah, I hated when we had to do reports on stuff in school and teacher wanted us to draw our own illustrations and stuff. And I was so upset. I worked really hard on this drawing of Cleopatra. And then he had this whole, well, it's in pencil. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? There was a kid in my class who was really good at art. And he was showing off all this thing that he did for us, and it was in pencil. So, yeah, I was not happy that he dinged me for it being in pencil when he was all showing off the other guys that was in pencil, right? Like, yeah. I was bad at confrontation, so I didn't say anything, but yeah, I wasn't happy about it. Half of the mark was for the bibliography. And if you like, when you put like, say when the book was published, if you didn't have like the month or something, he would just throw out the whole bibliography. Some of those books did not give you the month. The husband came home. He wanted to check one more thing on that laser engraver before raising a stink. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, I was saying he would ding you for that. I'm like, sometimes the book does not give the month. They just give the year that it was published. And like, you could show him, what am I supposed to do? Make something up? Like, I don't think you want me to fake it, right? And if your bibliography wasn't what he considered to be perfect, yeah, he'd take off half your mark right there. I don't know. That was weird. I think a few of my friends actually did, because he didn't like check it against the sources. So yeah, if you were honest and just put the year and it didn't have the month, you would get dinged. If you lied and said, oh, okay, April of whatever, right? Then you wouldn't. So I was like, I don't know. Or that meant sometimes I would just then not even bother to use a source if I could see that the bibliography information wasn't going to satisfy him. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Citing your sources is important, but like, if the source itself does not give the month it was published, I can't tell you the month it was published. I mean, this is in the days before the internet. Maybe nowadays you could, you know, find it online or something. It might tell you that it was originally published on this specific date, but at the time, all you had to go with was the copyright information in the book itself. There was nothing else you could do. So, yeah, I don't know. That was like, there was one teacher too. Whenever we were doing art and stuff, he always made a big deal about how when you're using the glue stick, you have to make sure that you get like into all the corners and every little edge down. And if you didn't, he'd come around and rip the stuff right off your work. It was, and then he'd say, oh, it just came off in my hand. Oh, yeah, that annoyed the heck out of me, and it gave me such anxiety too. Like, I remember gluing a picture down and spreading glue on it, and then like using my nail to get like along every little edge so he can pick up an edge and then rip it off and claim that it hadn't been glued properly. Yeah, I don't know. I told my mom that, and she's like, that's a weird power trip. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's like, when did your anxiety problems begin? I guess when teachers started gaslighting me, you know? Oh. Yeah, I remember that was the grade 2. We learned about division, and literally nobody explained to me it's multiplication in reverse. He's just like, oh, does everyone get it? I'm like, no. I had the hardest time memorizing my multiplication tables, and it didn't click to me that it was the other way around, and nobody said it. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I found a lot of my teachers were not good at explaining why you did certain things, and that's the big problem for me. If I don't understand why something, yeah, I'm not gonna learn it very well. So yeah, actually, I was not happy with that grade because that was the grade we had to learn cursive writing too. And oh gosh, he had this rule, more than 2 you must redo. I remember that phrase was the bane of my existence. It was more than 2 mistakes in cursive writing, you had to redo the whole page. If you made a mistake, you had to like put brackets around the word that you'd done wrong and put a red line through it. And yeah, and I remember one time I had copied out this page like 7 or 8 times, and I made my 3rd mistake, and I was like ready to just burst into tears, and I just finally went, okay, I give up. I'll take the dock marks, right? Because I was not going to write that thing for a 9th ruddy time, you know? And yeah, I was curious later when I looked it up, and they said that you can actually, cursive writing isn't necessarily faster. There are people who can print just as fast as other people can write in cursive. And it's, of course, printing is usually easier to understand, usually more legible. Some people's handwriting is atrocious, guilty as charged. But yeah, my handwriting's terrible. Even I can't read it half the time. But and I said, like, if cursive is so much better, why when you fill out forms do they tell you to print, not handwrite, you know? So yeah. And there was studies showing that people's sort of their creative writing skills fell when they were forced to do it in cursive, because they're focusing so hard on getting the actual, you know, letters correctly formed, that they're not focusing on the creativity anymore. And I'm like, okay, that was definitely my experience, because yes, it was so hard to avoid to have more than 2 mistakes on a page. That's all I was focused on. And yeah, I mean, I get it. They want us to learn it because you can't read historical documents without it and such, but yeah, I've always hated it. I'm so glad typing is more of a thing now instead of, yeah. Man, yeah, I remember somebody was talking about different ways they taught us to type. There was one that they put this flexible like rubber cover on top of the keys so that you couldn't see what the keys were, so you were forced to touch type. There was one they said they had like a shield to cover your hands so you couldn't see what keys you were touching, but then sometimes your fingers would bump into it and it was really, really distracting. Yeah, we didn't have that, but yeah. I remember there was the Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. I don't know if they still have that program around, but that was the one we were using. And I remember there was a level that was, you're driving a car and you had to type words, and every time you got a letter wrong, it would do this beep sound, and it would make like a bug hit your windshield. Well, of course, people thought that was funny. So then you'd be sitting in the computer lab just listening to this beep, 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 you know, incessant beeping going on. It was like, yeah, nobody's actually really learning anything here. Or there was another one I remember. What was it? It was like a checkout, and it would have stuff on the conveyor belt, and you had to type to sort of slow the conveyor belt down so stuff didn't fall off or whatever. And then of course eventually if you made enough mistakes, stuff would fall onto the floor and you'd lose. And I was like, that game again was so anxiety inducing, right? Try to stay ahead of it. Yeah. Yeah, or they had the joke about the one where it was like the game perfection. They said, yeah, where when you didn't get it perfectly right, all the pieces fit in perfectly right within the time limit. The board literally blew up in your face. Yeah, and all the pieces went flying everywhere. It's like, yeah, no wonder we all have anxiety. Oh, dear. Yeah, so I made a mistake. I made banana bread today, and I completely forgot that I bought marble coffee cake at the grocery store the other day. So now we have tons of dessert. Of course, my husband won't complain. Yeah, he's definitely a sweet tooth. I've become more of one over the last few years. Yeah, I was definitely more of a savory foods person, but I don't know, in the last few years, I've started to crave desserts more. Yeah, so I don't know if they're gonna remove the snow off of our street or not. They generally get to us last. Yeah, so it's kind of nice in that we don't have through traffic coming here. It's pretty much only people who live on this street that drive down this street, but then that means, yeah, we are like the very last for snow removal. They generally don't do it either unless there's a ton, and they're worried about the it flooding when it all melts, because generally when it thaws and melts very suddenly. And so yeah, if you have 6 feet of snow piled up on the side of the road that all melts at once, yeah, you get flooding. So oh, come on, why are you being so difficult? There we go. I didn't pull the needle far enough down the thread, and the ends didn't want to come free. Can't keep stitching with it like that, or I'll have 4 strands instead of 2. I think it's doubled on itself. Yeah, so I was saying we were watching 24 and we might quit. And yeah, I think my husband and I have both reached our limit of Jack goes rogue and doesn't get in trouble for it. We're on day 4, the 4th season, but yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, and then I think we're just not gonna watch anymore, because yeah, it's getting a bit repetitive and I'm getting frustrated. Maybe if you watched it while it aired and like you had to wait, a week, and then, until the next year to get the next season, it wouldn't seem that way, but binge watching it, it's quite apparent. Yeah. And like, yeah, we said we're both getting kind of frustrated with that. So yeah, the first couple seasons were good, but then it kind of started to get, which, I mean, does tend to be the risk sometimes when you have a show that follows a very similar formula every season. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the risks of it. Now we got lots of other stuff. I didn't expect there to be so much on Disney Plus that I want to watch, but I got a ton of stuff queued up, so Probably going to keep this for a couple of years before we switch to something else. Either Netflix or Crave. Yeah. Yeah, we had Prime for like 6 years. Finally watched pretty much everything we wanted to watch on it until anything new comes out, and then, yeah. But like I said, I'm cheap. I refuse to pay for more than one streaming service at a time. Yeah. Oh, plus, I want to try and get my husband hooked on Supernatural. Yeah, I told him the next time I'm watching it, I want him to try it with me because I think he will enjoy it. Okay, so let's see. So sometimes what I do is I don't go across the entire swath at once. It's just too much, and that's what I think I'm going to do is kind of cut it off here for now, fill in a bit here, and then I'm going to come back up and fill in some more. So I'm going to start right there. Just mark that for myself right now. Again, I don't worry about multiple threads because, like I said, there is so much of these colors right now that I'm going to use them all up. Okay. Okay. Just checking with my grid lines. Yeah, I find when I sort of make a break point, then I don't have as many live needles and I don't get as prone to tangles. Yeah, actually, I got a couple of my online friends to try Supernatural because I was posting about it. Yeah. Now I've joined some meme pages because I didn't before. I didn't want to spoil anything for myself. But now that I've seen the whole series, yeah, I can do that without risking. Yeah, because I had a friend I recommended a Star Trek page, and they're like, okay, but I'm still on my first run through some of them. So yeah, I said, okay, then yeah, you should probably wait until you're finished because you don't want to spoil things for yourself. Yeah, I said, I'm kind of envious of you. You got so much to watch now because, yeah. Now there's tons of 90s Trek, yeah. Although a lot of the new stuff's really good too. Yeah, Strange New Worlds I've been really enjoying. My only complaint is they only do 10 episodes a season and it's just not enough for me. Yeah, but it's kind of fun because I was a little worried when they said another one. I was like, another prequel? But no, they've done really well because, okay, Discovery is a prequel and Strange New Worlds is a prequel, but like they're totally different in tone. Yeah, Discovery can be quite heavy. Good, but it can be quite heavy. And Strange New Worlds is more back to the like episodic telling of, say, The Next Generation. Yeah, like, oh, it does have its heavy episodes too, don't get me wrong, but I mean, they did a musical episode, right? They did a crossover episode with Lower Decks. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, they never had a musical episode on Discovery, so yeah, and I said it was totally silly, and I enjoyed it anyway. Yeah, my worry too though is that it says it's 5-year mission, and I'm like, I really hope that they don't cancel it after 5 years. I know that, you know, they're probably supposed to, but I'm like, if it's only 10 episodes a season, we only get 5 seasons, it's only 50 episodes, and there's no way that's enough, right? Yeah. But I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be like MASH, right? Because this series ran for like, sheesh, 12 years or something, even though the time period that it's based in was like 3 years, right? So, or same like that 70s show lasted, yeah. Like, it was like 1979 for like 4 years or something. So they could keep it going. Yeah. You just kind of had to sort of suspend your disbelief in it. Disbelief in the passage of time there, yeah. So. Because, yeah, like I know in MASH there were some continuity things because they had to compress so much into a shorter amount of time, but you just sort of had to go with it. Don't look at it too hard, right? Yeah. Yeah, from looking at the mock-up, I wouldn't expect this to look so stripy, but I guess this gives it the shading because this part of the wall is supposed to be sort of in shadow a bit, I think, from looking at the mock-up. So yeah, I guess having the darker color sort of mixed in with these paler yellows will give it that effect. You just sort of have to back up a bit from the work to really see it. Okay. Yeah, I think this will be the last strip I do for a bit. Actually, I'm gonna do the one that's up here too. Yeah. And then I'm gonna go back up a bit and start filling in down there, so. Yeah, my husband, they're planning to go see the second Dune movie in theaters tonight. They invited me to go along. I'm like, oh, but it's a late showing. I'm tired. I said, nah, never mind. I said, you're planning to buy it on Blu-ray later anyway, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'll just watch it then. Yeah, when you get it. Because, yeah. Oh, plus, the older I get, the harder it is to make it through a whole movie without needing to use a bathroom, yeah. I don't bring any drinks with me, and yeah. We went to see Avengers Endgame in theaters because we did not want to wait for it to have to wait for it to come out on DVD release. And I did make it through, but just barely. I said, yeah, well, I made it through all the way through Lord of the Rings Return of the King, the third movie, and that was over 3 hours, but yeah. I had a headache by the end because I was dehydrated, yeah. I had bottled water in the car for afterwards. It just guzzled like a liter, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I said that's when you need to see a 4-hour movie because then they split it into 2 2-hour parts and you get an intermission so you could use the bathroom, but yeah. Yeah, I said nowadays I'm spoiled, right? Because often you can stream the movie the day it's released in theaters or like the next week. And yeah, it's kind of nice because then you can pause it whenever you need to take a break. And yeah, no sticky floors, right? And overpriced food and stuff. So yeah, and we've got a very big TV, so yeah, it's 72 inches, I think. Yeah, it says bigger than me, right? Because I'm 63 inches, so yeah, 5'3". And I actually, before we installed it, I had my husband take a picture of me lying down in front of it and said, see, the new TV is bigger than me. Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to go bigger than that. Although there is space, like the way my husband built the rec room, we could fit an 80-inch TV in there, but yeah. Well, it was because we got this TV because we bought it right when they were bringing the new models in, and they wanted to get rid of the old models, and it was half the price. So yeah, I mean, we said we don't need the brand newest model. It's not like it's a display that's been running for, you know, months on end and is going to wear out soon. It's still new in the box, so yeah. So we'll take it. Yeah, of course, my husband said the sales guy was trying to, you know, talk him into buying the newest one, but he's like, nope, you know, I don't need to pay twice as much for something that's basically the same thing. Yeah. Oh, they said that's a trick if you are going to buy a brand new vehicle. They said go in, like, say December, because they will have the next year's models out as the new ones, and they will be wanting to get rid of the old ones. So even though it's a brand new vehicle, yeah, you can sometimes get a good deal on it because they're trying to clear all the inventory of the older stuff. So yeah. Hold on. Yeah, although I was very glad that my car was able to be fixed when I got rear-ended that time, because I really didn't want to have to buy another vehicle. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go back up into this corner here. Oh, pardon me. And start filling in from there. So I'm gonna check that's a long one. I think this is a short one. Yeah. Shorter anyway. Nowhere to really park it since the other one parked nearby is longer. So I'll tie this off and I think save these pieces for when I have a single stitch somewhere else. That will work out nicely. Since that's highlighted, I might as well do that as well. bit more of this color, and then I think that's where I'm gonna call it a day. Oh, gee. Smacked my hand into my stand there. Okay. It'll be time to move my frame over soon. I got a couple more moves before we reach the far edge of this pass. Okay, yeah. Look at that, 3, 2, 1. I didn't do that all during this session. As I said, I didn't start at 0, but that's kind of a cool number to stop on. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.